I literally just got in the door. Still wearing my jacket. I just got in the door from karaoke. Karaoke. Just got indoors. Yeah, it was a good thing though. It was a good time. I was telling a gentleman that he's a radio producer and karaoke host, and he should try to go on YouTube. I was telling him that, and I hope that he does take me up on that. It's late tonight. It's the latest I've ever done this show. The latest. I try to make it a thing where I don't go on too late. Let me tell you what happened. Okay, so I go out to a place, had dinner, and dinner and a show. I call karaoke a show. I went there and okay. I went there and everything was good. It was a little cold in there at first. I was actually shivering at first. And I said to the person serving my table, I said to them, "Listen, is the manager anywhere around? I got to talk to him." And she said, "Yeah, he's here." She went and actually told him. I said, "Tell him it's kind of cold in here, and I would like to possibly get to go package so I can, because I'm getting ready to go. I can't really bear the cold." And she went back and told him. So I sat there and I waited for him to come out, and he and I could communicate about the atmosphere of the place, and so. Um, at any rate, I saw him walk by, and I figured that was the manager. I wasn't sure, and I went over to the location where he was, and I spoke to the waitress. I said, "Listen, is that the gentleman?" And she said, "Yeah, that's the manager." I said, "Okay, how you doing, sir?" I spoke to him, and I said, "Listen, I have some concerns about. I mean, I said you have excellent food here. The service is very good, except one thing. I'm a little cold here this evening, so I'm gonna head out. I was gonna do some singing with the karaoke person, but I don't think so because it's cold. Gonna leave." He said, "Well, I turned the temperature up, and she told me you spoke with her." And I said, "Yeah, it's a little cold." And he said, "If you wait a couple of minutes, the temperature's coming up now." And so um, he and I spoke, and uh, it was great because he turned the temperature up. It got real comfortable for me. None of the other customers were complaining about it being too hot or whatever. It's just some people in certain cultures or whatever, they can take colder temperatures. I myself feel it as soon as it dropped below 60. I start feeling it. But it was nice he did that, and I shook his hand later, and I said, "Listen, thank you very much for hearing me out, and I appreciate it. Thank you for turning the temperature up as well." And he said, "No problem. You're welcome." And it was done very professional on both ends. Um, we talked a little bit about doing the karaoke show. We talked a little about he's got this habit now where he introduces me as the morning gardener slash karaoke singer, and I think a lot of it's fun hearing him say that because he's got that radio. You imagine that radio announcer's voice, and he does that, and it's like he does that, and it's like really um, entertaining. I'll say. Uh, the thing about it is, I enjoy I enjoy all of my gardening to the point where I go everywhere. I talk about it. I tell everybody about it. I don't know what it is about it. It's just great. I mean, it's great. Okay, see, here's my thing. You could take a tiny seed that looked like dust, depending on the genetics, put it in the ground, and it'll turn out to be a plant you can't even pull from the ground with your bare hands. That's how big it can get, and it's amazing to me. Um, I have grown everything from carrots to cucumbers to watermelon, you name it. I have grown them, and the great thing about it is the wonderful way that stuff tastes when you get it when you finally get it right, and that's the thing I love about it. It's a wonderful thing. Um, Question I have to some of my viewers out there, and maybe you've done it. Can you grow a watermelon vine in a? Oh, thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you. Can you grow a watermelon vine? That's what I'm sending out now. Can you grow a watermelon vine. I believe you can, but I want to know if anyone ever had tried it. I guess it's a better question. A watermelon vine in a flower pot, not in a. They don't imagine a small flower pot, but in a flower pot, depending on whatever size you need. Because if you have soil on your property that's heavy clay, you can still grow watermelons in it. I mean, they tell you that watermelons prefer soil that's sandy and that sort of thing, and I believe that because what they're talking about is the kind of root structure that it has. It's not really strong enough to penetrate through certain clay soils, and I believe that because certain clay soils are more dense than other clay soils. But my thinking on that is, um, when it comes to watermelons, I grew one once I grew a couple on my property. They were sugar babies, and I thought the world of them because it was incredible. They were incredible melons. I said, "Wow, these are really great." And it was the sweetest melon I've ever eaten in my life. Was the one I grew. That was the sweetest one I've ever eaten, and it tasted so good. It was so. I remember taking it from the ground. I didn't even put it in to chill it down. I cut it in half, and it was so pretty on the inside. It was beautiful red. It was firm. It was everything right. Put it like this: imagine the perfect melon. And I I took her my a lady. I took her slice, about her half, and I left it alone because the way I was going at that one I had, if I would have left that next to me, I would have eaten it as well. I mean, not intentionally, but it was that good. Um, but it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. And I've been trying to grow one ever since, and to no avail. The plant would grow, but no melon. And then this year, actually, this year, I started the melon plants indoors very early. I think I'm gonna try it this year as well. Uh, I started this year, and what did I do? I grew the plant, beautiful, huge leaves, beautiful vining, everything. And it did, yes, it took up a lot of space. I saw one vine that was like 12 feet long. It was little tiny melons maturing on it. And that's okay. I'm on my way. Um, but to no avail, there was no melons. So what do? Um, I have to grow some flowers in my yard. I want more pollinators in my yard. Um, some 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 properties like mine are just all green. Mine are all green, and I get bumblebees in the yard every once in a blue moon. I get uh, I get things in my yard like wasp every once in a while. I get some honeybees, and that's at the later part of the year when I start seeing honeybees, because I'm learning that when I talk to other gardeners, it is getting more difficult to see bees through their property. And you got the bee collectors, of course. They have a number of hives that they're on their property, and they do have no issues with pollination to their plants. But when you don't have that, and I don't want any bee hives on my property because I just don't want to get stung. I just don't want to do it. Don't want to do it. Don't want to do it. And so that being said, I want to make certain that I just enjoy the garden and no bees. So I think what I'm going to do is bring in wildflowers, and I'm gonna put them in locations around trees, locations such as the area where my blueberries are. Um, yeah, that's a good idea. Over where my raspberries are, where my grapes are, and basically, I'm going to throughout different spots in the yard. Um, have it set up where I have some wildflowers in the yard so that I can attract more pollinators. And I want flowers that will die and come back the next year. And they call that, perennials. Uh, so that's what my next step is to get perennial flowers on the property. And that's the name of that too. That's the name of that too. Yeah. So it's so much fun. It's so much fun gardening. But make it better, make it easier. I like gardens that are easy, but this year I'm going to cut back a great deal of my garden, back a lot of my weeds, and I'm going to use those weeds. Like I said, I give all of the weeds a job to do. Um, I cut them down and I let them hit the ground and stay there, and all they turn into is fertilizer. Um, and as you keep cutting them, and they keep bringing nutrients to the top of the soil, you're actually fertilizing your ground. I use a tractor to do the bulk of the cut, and then I do the weed around edges and everything with the weed whacker. And the weed whacker does an excellent job. If you get a good one, because I need a weed whacker on my property that's burly. I don't need one that's real soft and gentle. That's for like little soft grass like bluegrass. I need a big, heavy duty weed whacker, and that's the name of that too. Well, that's been the morning gardener's rant, and I'm going to get into some other things around here. Um, let's see. Winter. Plants that grow in the winter. Wow, that's a big list. That's a whole bunch of plants that grow in the winter. I'll give you a good example. Right now, got home from singing at karaoke, and when I got here, I noticed there was frost on my car. Well, my town car, yeah. And so they're still green. The whole yard in back is still green right now. So those plants are surviving. Um, and all winter, uh, I can see ice on plants that are green, but they're still growing. I mean, excuse me, they're still alive. So certain ones die and come back next year. Some will come back in the spring. I've learned that everything is on a cycle. Every plant is on a cycle. Some will come back in the spring. Some come back in the summer. Some come back in the late summer, and then they, the fall. You still got stuff growing, and then goes into the colder months, and then everything starts dying back, and then it repeats the whole thing all over again. So what grows in the winter, as far as if you're talking about food plants that we know of that we eat, if we're talking about just any plant in particular, uh, yeah, you can grow any kind of. I mean, some plants are adapted to just being alive during the winter, but not actually dying. Oh, food plants. Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. Oh, let's see what I got now. I got some spinach outside right now. I should have took some videos of it, and they were little seedlings, but they're known for cold hardiness. Now, cold hardiness could mean a whole bunch of things, but in Zone 7B where I'm at, the coldest it can get here that I've seen it here, and I've been here 50 some years. It has gotten as cold as 5 degrees, and my fruit trees were fine. I mean, I didn't lose not one fruit tree. Um, let's see now. Oh, okay, okay. You're in Ohio. Ohio. Now, is Ohio a cold place? I always wanted to know that. Is it a cold place? What's the coldest it could get there? Have you noticed? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, let's see. Snow and all. 3 feet. Whoa, 3 feet. Now, we get snow sometimes 3 feet tall. I remember maybe a couple of years back, the snow got around 3.5. It's very close to that 4 feet range. Um, it was so close up on that. I would look into my backyard. In fact, I shot videos of it. I couldn't believe it. I was looking out of a window. Wait a minute. Let me get it right now. I opened the window of the first floor of the house. Snow fell in the house when I opened the window. I shot the videos out of that window. And when I shot the videos, I couldn't believe it because the trees, it was all the way up on the trees. And I'm looking at the trees under snow, and I'm looking at over across the yard. I have the blueberry plants that were about 3 feet tall. They were completely under, and they didn't die. So blueberries is cold hardy, depending on what variety you get. So I put it like this: on my property, I have what's the name of that plant called? And I was really worried about it that winter. It's called kiwi. Kiwi plants, the one I have, the variety I have was the Isaiah kiwi, which is a kiwi plant that's both male and female. Um, it can cross, it can bear fruit without a second plant. Self-fertile, they call it. So that plant I was worried about because it's most of your kiwis, they kind of like the weather kind of warm, not too cold. Um, and it did pretty well. It did well. It didn't die. The snow was all the way over it, covering it up, and maybe a foot of it stuck out of the snow. And I said, I might lose that plant. And I said, I spent too much time trying to get that plant up old enough so I could put it outside. Because when I first got it, once I, got about 12, 13 inches tall, I bought it off eBay. In fact, it's expensive. I think it's expensive to try to get somebody for $13 for a plant that's about that tall. And anyway, I bought it, and it was just young, and it was healthy. It was a good, very good, healthy plant. And I put it in a pot, and I kept upgrading the pot to bigger pots. And next thing I know, it was a viney little thing. And I remember putting a stick in there that was 3, 4 feet tall, and it was winding up it. And I said, wow, that's pretty good. And then the second year, I said, I'm gonna put it out. No, the first year, I said, I'm gonna put it outside. I watched it dry back. I die back, and I said, oh, take it back in the house. Take it back in. And I had to take it back in before I lost it because it was the only cutting I have there. In fact, I still only have that one plant out there. And I don't like being like that. I like to have multiple um, plants when it comes to, I don't like to have just one plant because if you lose it, it's gone. So I tried taking cuttings off of it, and one year I was very successful. I grew them up, and I lost track of them somewhere. I might have gave them away or something, but at any rate, I was growing the cuttings in sand. I go to Home Depot. I bought that like that playground sand is what I call it. Um, oh, okay. So hello, good evening, and the playground sand works for starting cuttings. It works. All you do is put them in a pan, and you put holes in the bottom of the pan like you would a flower pot, and you take your cutting in the correct way. There are a lot of examples on YouTube, and then you take that and you stick it down in the soil. And I'm gonna tell you something, it'll grow. It'll grow, and you got to watch it. Some people put a plastic bag or a clear plastic bag to keep the moisture in, and remove a lot of the leaves so you don't have it starving for moisture. And the thing about it, they rooted. And once they rooted, I took them and put them in separate pots. And I was like, well, I can start off and I can sell these plants. And I was thinking like that. So you can do that. I mean, you can take one plant and start a business from it, one single plant and start a business. And you become a specialist in just kiwi, that particular variety. You just advertise everything as that particular variety. And and people will come to you when they want that particular kiwi plant. Even the large stores will say, I need 30 of them. Can you deliver? Yeah, I can deliver. I need 800 of them. Can you deliver? No. Rooting, kiwi cuttings. Uh, which each year I try to root two plants on my property. One is the grapevines, and the other one is the kiwi plant. I purchased a grape that I'm thinking about, getting cuttings from this year. It's that particular. It's a large. It's known as one of the largest white grapes that you can grow in this climate. I can't think of the name of it right now, but it's a large white grape. And I said, I've got to have more than uh, just one of these plants. Now, the the other one I used to try to grow from was called a red globe grape. And that to me was an absolute nightmare because it just kept dying. I got one, died. Got a second one, died. Got a third one, died. And I said, wait a minute. It says, but when you look at the chart where it says what zone it grows in, the coldest zone is where I live. So that's so close to where um, that it just can't stand some winters and it would die. But red globe grape, the reason why I wanted it because it was a huge red grape, and I used to get them from the grocery stores, and it was just a beautiful grape. And I said, can I grow it from the seeds? No. You can grow a grapevine from the seeds, but it won't taste like that grape. Of course, some of you know that. But if you grow it from a cutting, it would grow, you know, but not in this climate where I'm at. It's in a warmer climate, and so that's why I was with. So I gave up on the red globe grape, and probably the next grape I get that will be a red grape will be the flame grape. I will get that. Now I'll get that, and I'm not going to pay an arm and a leg for it. I'm not going to pay an arm and a leg for it. Wait a minute, wait a minute. Let me see something what you got here. Let's see. You bought some grapevines and you bought them in the house. Is that what you're saying? You brought them in the house because there was some expected frost. I got just something I want to tell you right now. Cold doesn't bother grapes. Cold does not bother grapes. Nope. They will live. They don't care how cold it is. I've never had an issue with a grape that is set for that particular zone um, and had issues with it. The red glow grape was the one I bought that I knew it was close to that cold line. Here was the one that said zone 10, between zone 10, which is the warmest, and zone 7. So I figured they said it was zone 7A. I'm in zone 7B. So I figured, well, give it a shot. Well, I bought it and they died, they died, and they died, and they kept dying. So I went through about like four, maybe five of them. Maybe five of them. They kept dying. So anyway, um, now go shop for grapevines. Like if you go to, and I'm not advertising for these people, but I just think they do a great job. And it's what's the name of the place called? Stock Bros or Stock Brothers. Now, Stock Brothers to me, they sent me small plants before. And I said, what is this? What is this? And it was about 4 inches tall, $16, $17. I said, come on now. So they sent me another plant because they didn't like, to get their call. It was 4 feet tall. Same plant. Same plant. So when they in a rush to get some of the stuff out and they low and they're waiting for another shipment to come in, they'll sell them little tiny ones. They'll sell them. If some people take them, they'll sell them. But me, I said, no, 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 no. This you said that this plant was blah blah blah, and I got the plant I wanted. Um, I would I would get a grapevine. Now this is the when you get into the late fall and you get into the winter, that's when you put all your stuff in. You put it outside, dig a nice little size hole for it. Don't bury it too deep, and really loosen the soil up, and then pack the soil around it, water it in. A lot of soil is pretty moist anyway, but you want to water it in so you can get rid of some of them air bubbles in the soil. And once you do that, you're set. You set. You put a grapevine in, you're gonna get grapes in about 2 years. You're gonna get grapes. I gave one to a young lady. She's a DJ with karaoke. I gave her a plant. I gave her a plant, and I drove it there, took it to her, and everything. And that was grown from a cutting, and she's gonna enjoy it. Those are Thompson grape seedless that I gave her. I usually try to look for the seedless grapes. I got a little quick thing to tell you about grapes. It's not all joy. It is this. Learn how to prune them. You'll get more grapes. Um, Take care of the plant because you don't, you're gonna get less grapes. It, and that's how that works. You sound like me when I first started out. You sound like me when I first started. That's exactly what happened. I was getting less and less, and I said, "Oh, what am I doing? What am I doing?" And once I learned the three things, I mean, excuse me, not three things, but I learned that if you loosen the soil up, nobody's really tilling anymore. I guess maybe a few people might still be tilling, but you don't want to till. All you want to do is loosen the soil up. When you're in the you get a pitchfork and just rock back on it, loosen it, go back 4 inches, loosen it, go back 4 inches, loosen it, and go back 4 inches, loosen it. And that's all you want to do is get air into the soil. You don't want to be doing all that tilling stuff and kill your soil. Once you do that, then you dig a small hole with your little trowel, I guess that's what they call it. You dig the small hole or use a shovel if you put on the side of the plant. And in that side of that hole, you put in fertilizer, just in that hole. Just fertilize where the plant is. Um, I like to use, I tell people my recipe that I use for mostly anything, which is blood meal, bone meal. I use if I want to use a organic fertilizer, I get something like, root tone or something like that. It doesn't matter. As long as it's set for that type of plant. The 10-10-10 is good. You got a lot of organic fertilizers, you know. But anyway, you put that in the hole, and then you put in your. I like to use cow manure. I don't know why, but it's just that nitrogen is what I like to use it for. And I just throw what I want in that hole. I might add a little bit of Epsom salt in there so I can grow plants with a stronger, I guess you'd call it not a skin, but the fibers in the plants are stronger. Now, the thing about it is once I add that to that hole, it's just fun watching the plant. I cover over all those ingredients of soil about that deep, about inch and a half, 2 inches deep. Get covered over, and I set my plant right on top of that. Then I cover it over with the soil, native soil, and then I water it in. Now, when you water it in, you can do a couple of tricky things, like I like to do. I use a liquid, like a liquid starter fertilizer, something that's real light, like a maybe a fish emulsion or something like that. And I water it in, and I'm gonna tell you something. When you give a plant that kind of love, oh my goodness. Excuse me, folks, get a little excited. It will love you back. It will love you back like crazy. It will get buck wild on you. Now, you got the plant there, you watered it in. You use about a teaspoon and a half of fish emulsion in a gallon of water. And you water that plant in, and once you water that plant in, that plant gonna act crazy. It's gonna act crazy. It's gonna jump out of the ground, it's gonna keep growing, and then another about 2 weeks, water it again with the fish emulsion. Um, and your water cycle should be set on what type of plant you grow, whether it's summer, whether it's winter. Best one you got right here, just finger, stick it in the ground about that far to the knuckle, and just feel the moisture in that. If that soil is moist, leave it alone. Leave it alone. A lot of people make mistakes. One thing about gardening is overwatering. They overwater like crazy. They see the plant limp a little bit in the summer, they water it. And sometimes you stick your finger in the soil, if it's moist down there, leave the plant alone. The reason why it's doing that is because it's like going kind of dormant because it's hot as hell out there. Once the sun starts going down, it'll stand right back up like it's supposed to. Can't keep dumping water on it every time. It's like somebody, you said you will sleep at the house. Somebody keeps dumping water on you. What the heck is wrong with you, Frank? Nothing's wrong with you. Just he feel like since you're going limp a little bit, he should water you. But no, seriously though. I think that's overwater. Yeah, you're not the only one. You're not the only one. A lot of people overwater. Even professional gardeners overwater because they have days where they go, oh, this plant's not. Instead of getting down off of the tractor, taking that finger, sticking it in the soil up to the knuckle, that's your indicator. You will use this your whole gardening life. You will put it in the soil. If it's moisture there, leave it alone. That's a rule of thumb or a rule of finger. But that's what you want to do. You don't want to. You don't want to. You don't want to do that. You don't want to keep watering it. I use water, but I usually make a lot of my fertilizer. I tell people about that. I was talking about it tonight at karaoke about it. He's fascinated. He likes to learn a little bit of everything. He's a history buff. But what I do is when spring starts coming in, it produces certain types of weeds, and these weeds are real easy to pull up. That's why I like them, really like them. And I grab all the weeds, and I put it in this big plastic trash can. I paid like $9 for it with a lid on it. That's what and you throw it in, and you throw it in, you throw it in, you throw it in, and you add all these weeds in there, and then you fill it up with rainwater. A lot of people don't have rainwater. I only use rainwater. So what I do is I go ahead and deal with a situation where um, they are just a beautiful. It's a beautiful situation. What I do, I collect my rainwater. I add it to those weeds that are in that trash can. I did one year just leave the trash can lid off and let nature just water it by naturally the can getting full of water. Now, once it created this liquid in there, um, it's going to stink a little bit. I keep it away from the neighbors, in the back of the property. Um, Here's the fun thing about that fertilizer. Once it gets about it's going to be ready to use. Then it gets about 4, 5, 6 weeks old. It's not going to smell anymore, and it's going to create this dark liquid. And this liquid is black gold to your plant. My God, let me say that one more time. It's like black gold. It's beautiful stuff. And I kept thinking to myself, if this stuff is so good, why are people running to the store when the weather changes, lined up in the gardening department, spending all their hard-earned money on fertilizers that are 8, 9, and $14, $15 a bag? And why are they doing this? Because they don't know. That's why they're doing this. They do not know that plants eat plants. That's what they eat. Ain't no mystery around that. Plants eat plants. Plants eat animal droppings. Plants eat dead animals when they hit the ground and then they break down and go into the soil. Plants eat that. Those sweet little roses and all that will eat you if you lay there long enough. Those sweet little pansy flowers, they'll eat you if you lay there long enough. They will eat cow waste, urine, whatever. That's what they eat. Organic matter. Anything and everything that was once alive. And they eat it. So when you take weeds and put them in a trash can, all you're doing is breaking the weeds down and you're creating a liquid. And this liquid is what the plants will eat. That's what they eat. You take that liquid, don't put your hands in that liquid now. I did that before. Make your hands itch all day. Use rubber gloves. Use rubber gloves, trust me. Because, you'll itch all day and you won't know how to stop it. Um, But, so what's going on here is you take this liquid, you get a gallon jug. I used to use a milk jug. I repurpose all the time. And I put about an inch in there of this liquid. And I fill all the rest up with rainwater. Give it a little shake, pour it around my plant. And you'll see them jump out of the ground. I grew some of the prettiest cucumbers this year that you could have shot pictures of them and put them in videos. You could have put them in videos or pictures for those garden setups that people do to make you want to buy their burgers or whatever, or sandwiches or whatever. These cucumbers were that pretty, and they were crunchy and full of flavor, and they had a aromatic flavor smell to them that was just incredible. And I said, this is coming from my liquid. And I've been using that liquid for the last 4 years now. And it's incredible. And I just couldn't understand why people weren't using this. They were spending their money at the what they call it, at the big box stores. I used to do it. I used to be one of those people, and I hated it. Springtime, I was in line holding a cart, looking around at other people holding carts, and looking around at other people holding plants. There's a guy got a tree over there. It's a standard, and his yard is only 4x4. He's got a tree that's getting ready to get 35 feet tall and 35 feet across. He has no idea what he just bought. I'm looking at that. In fact, I went over and talked to him, and he said, "Oh, the guy said," I said, this apple tree needs another tree. He said, "Needs another tree?" I said, "Yeah, in order to produce apples." The guy just sold him the tree. And I said, "Listen, bro," I said, "you need to get a dwarf tree." I said, "You need to get a dwarf on a M1 or M9 or something like that." I can't remember right now exactly. It's a real small daggone tree. It won't get but maybe 8 feet tall, 4, 5, 6 feet across. You'll be better off with getting two of those than you would what he just sold you. So anyway, the guy bought it anyway. Nothing I can do to save him. It was his deal. But I used to be one of those people. I hated it. I'm in line. I'm standing there feel like cattle. I'm looking around. She's buying, and this old lady's buying all these expensive flowers that somebody else grew, about $30, $40, $50 worth of flowers that came out of a seed pack that might have ran 98 cents. But somebody grew it, and then she bought them, and then she spent the big retail price for them. There's no way I could do that now and actually be able to sleep at night. There's no way I could tell anybody out there to do that and be able to sleep at night. I don't do that. I go to the store. I only want heirloom seeds, first of all. And well, there's some seeds that I don't care if I get them back again. There might be some hybrids. I find a tomato I like. That's the one I want to keep growing every year. Once I get the genetics, which is those little pack of seeds, you don't need to give me about 5 seeds. You give me 5 seeds, I'll do the rest. Wait, I'm with you on that. Look, let me explain something. Let me tell you what happened one time. I had a guy used to dump 800 to 900 pounds of leaves on my property, and they sat right in the front yard, and right next to the driveway. And it did. It looked. If you were them kind of people, yeah, you would go, "Hey, city, come over here and see what this fool's doing." Yeah, you would do that. So I asked the guy. I said, "Look, could you start? You know, we drop it all the way to the back of my property." He said, "Sure, no problem." The yard is muddy in the winter, so you can't really, you know. We would try. I tried to drag it, and I realized something here. I may be strong. I cannot drag 900 pounds of leaves in a tarp. Can't do it. I've tried it. In fact, I couldn't move it. I didn't know leaves were so heavy. And they were just leaves. He's a landscaping person, so he gets all the leaves. Anyway, he had to hook him up to one of those little, tractors that you got the handles instead of the steering wheel. And that thing pulled it all the way around to the back, but I didn't like that either because he was running over my baby trees. I said, wait a minute, bro, that's my tree you just ran over. He said, oh, I'm sorry. And the tree was bent, and I straightened it up and put a little splint on it. And oh, okay, you saw him. Thank you. I'm glad somebody saw him. Yeah, because some videos crazy. Um, so I got all these leaves, and they break down all winter. Oh my God! If you're a fishing person, you don't need to buy night crawlers from Walmart anymore because they are in there. Soon as they start breaking down, them things are in there. Big, huge night crawlers. Look like baby snakes. You don't want to hardly touch them when you see them. So you got all this life going on, and the biology in the soil starts to break them leaves down, and you can't believe how fast it does it. That big pile goes down to 3 to 4 feet. I mean, 4 feet down to 3 feet, and now it's at a mass where it won't go any further. But when you tear off the top and you look in there and you just see the blackest soil you ever want to see, you begin to understand what you're doing wrong. What you're doing wrong is the way you were taught in those some of those books. They tell you go buy 10-10-10 fertilizer, which is granulated, which is man-made fertilizer. Then they tell you to sprinkle that stuff on your plants. It'll grow it fine for the first and second year, and then all of a sudden you'll start noticing something not right. The plants will not grow anymore in those areas where you've been using this stuff. Now, why is that? Because it begins to salt the earth in those areas. They don't tell you that part about it. And then all the food that you eat out of it, to me, I can only speak for me, it tastes metallic, like it's metal in it or something. So I stopped using that method. I stopped. I said, I can't do this anymore. I stopped at about, I want to say 12 years ago. I want to say 12. I stopped tilling and all that stuff because it was just getting crazy. I was working my butt off and wasn't getting nothing out of the garden. And now I just with the shovel. It just drops in the ground. I love that. And you pull it back. You take your tomato plant that you grew, that you bought for it's plant seeds are going up now. They done got crazy now. But if it's a certain seed you want, or something like let's say tomato or cucumbers or whatever, you start growing those indoors before the weather breaks. You know, even before March, you can start growing them. Don't start too early because you have to take care of them all like I did last year. I said I would never do that again. I had plants of 12 inches tall and all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to grow them all the way in. And then the weather got bad, and then I still had them in the house, and I started losing a couple here and there. They were old enough now; they needed to get out into the sun so they can get the nourishment that they need. At any rate, you get a pan. You get it from the dollar store anywhere. A couple of holes in it, whatever. And you put them in a pan, and I grow in bulk. That's the only way I know how. I tried all that little. I see these gardeners on these videos, and one gardener like this, right? Wait a minute, let me see if I can get it right. He's got a pair of tweezers, and he putting one seed in that hole, and then going over there, one seed in that hole, and I can't do that. I don't have the patience for that. I don't have no. I'm not crazy about it that much. I get a pan. I sprinkle these seeds on top. I sprinkle a little bit of vermiculite on top of that. Water it down. Bada boom, bada bang. Um, I grow. Yeah, thank you for seeing that. Yeah, I grow them the way that I get a bulk of them when they grow. I mean, in that pan, I might get 10 plants come up. When that 10 plants start coming up, I watch those plants. I watch them. They grow, 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 and I wait for the biggest and the strongest ones. I start taking them out with a fork or a spoon, putting them off in their own separate pots. Then once I start doing that, bada boom, bada bang, I got all of my plants looking good and pretty. And when the spring comes, I got some plants. I'm not giving no company $3 and $4 per plant. I won't do it. I can't, like I said, can't sleep at night. Can't sleep at night doing that. I can't. Because, see, look, if I'm paying, look, this is my thinking. If I'm paying more for the garden than it's worth, then I don't want to do it. This has been the Morning Garden Show. That call that told me it's time to get off this line here. But we'll do it again real soon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you very much.